What first took you to China, and how long have you spent there?
My first time in China was 1979. I was pretty young at the time, and I had a friend from high school whose parents, we grew up in Southern California, and they were kind of into everything up to and including nude swimming pool therapy. So whatever interesting sort of thing there was to try, they'd try it. And they were members of the U.S.-China People's Friendship Association. They went on a teacher's tour before the opening up of China and the establishing of relations between China and the United States. And while they were there, they heard that there were going to be openings for Americans to teach English, and on a whim they applied. They got the jobs. And my friend asked me if I wanted to go with him to visit his parents, and I said, sure, fine, that sounds like fun. So that was over 30 years ago, and that was what started it. I started going back, my first return trip after that was 1993 for the first Shanghai International Film Festival. And I've gone back at least once a year since 1999. You wouldn't really be able to recognize the Beijing from my first time there when I actually lived there to the Beijing now. It's almost been completely transformed, and it's very interesting when you meet people that are older whose lives have changed so utterly. China has transformed so dramatically that in the large cities there's very little that's remained the same. You can find certain neighborhoods, little pockets that looked like what they did back in 1979, but for the most part the changes are unimaginable. And I don't know what it would be like if you were a Chinese person having lived through all of this. Writing for me is trying to put together how the world actually works, and people have sort of a sanitized or unrealistic idea of what China is like. I think it's important for people to understand that in spite of the fact that it's an authoritarian government, in spite of the fact that there is political repression, people's daily lives are pretty much like daily lives anywhere. For this book in particular, I was interested in internet bars, and I did get to visit, I think, the sleaziest internet bar in all of Beijing, which really made me happy, and it was a great reinforcement of my knowledge of Chinese swear words, because you had all of these young guys, and every time their avatar would die, there just would be this storm of these really inventive Beijing curses, which I won't repeat because some people will understand them.
Did you always know you were going to write a novel set in China?
No, I really didn't. I decided a couple of years ago that I really wanted to take writing seriously. I wanted to write something I could sell, and I did a little bit of a self-examination, and well, what can I actually talk about that might be interesting to people that I know about that hasn't really been dealt with that much. And I felt that contemporary China was a really rich setting for a novel, particularly because most Western writers that have written about China, they tend to deal with the period. It's, bound feet and Qing dynasty and opium dens and that sort of thing. And I wanted to illustrate what China is like today, which is very different from the stereotype than the preconceptions I think that a lot of people have of it.